So in this video, we're going to look at combinations and compositions of functions, but how they deal with graphs. So if you just look at the picture here, we have this graph going on, okay, and then we have some information about it. Well, first off, easy, we just need to make sure we understand function notation. So f of -4, that means that value would be 4 there. And we're adding this together with g of 2. Well, g of 2, I look at the g graph, which is the bottom graph here. I can see where it is there. And g of 2 is -2. So the value of this would just be 4 minus -2, which is 2. Okay? So 2 is the answer there. Now, as we look at these guys, right, each one might be a little bit different, but I'm just going to go down and try a couple of these, right? So you should probably be able to try those. I want to look at E here before I let you go and to try the rest. So this, remember, is f of g of -2, right? So in this problem, you're going to need to look at g of -2 first. So you look at g of -2 and you see that's -4. So now the value of g of -4 becomes the new input into f. So f of -4 is that value 4 up there. So the whole answer to that problem is 4. So take a minute to pause this video, and I want you to try A through H there. They're different ones, different kind of combinations there. So try that, see what you get, and then come back and I'll have the answers here for you. So hopefully, right, as I'm putting the answers here, you were able to find some success while doing these, right? And that helped you out. So there you go. You could take a look at those. Hopefully we did well there. So after we looked at that, now we're going to come down here and say, well, what if it gives me no numbers and I'm just doing this on more of a scale of for any x value within the domain? So the best way I think to do this is we're going to look at this and say, well, this, remember, is f of x minus g of x. So in this graph, we're going to need to look at f and g before we're able to graph the combination. So I would, over here on the side, I'm going to make a little graph. I'm going to say x, and I'm looking at any x values that we actually have the points. So you see here we get 4, at -4, at -2, at 0 they put a point, at 2, and at 4. So those are going to be the x values we're going to look at. Now, next, I want f of x. Now, I don't know what that is yet, but we'll get there. Okay, I know we're also going to use g of x. And then finally, we're going to look at, okay, well, what happened when I subtracted f of x minus g of x? So the first thing we look at is f of x. Well, what was f at -4? That was 4. At -2, it was 2. At 0, it was 4. At 2, it was 2. And at 4, it was 4. And then I do the same thing for g. At -4, we were at -4. At 2, we were still at -4. At 0, we were at 0. At 2, we were at -2. And at 4, we were at -2. Now I subtract. 4 minus -4 is 8. 2 minus -4 is 6. 4, 4, 6. Okay. Then we take those. Now our new values we're going to graph here. So we are going to graph -4, 8, 2, 6. Those are our new points. So if you look, that x, the x is still going to be the same, but we have new y values, if you will, new f of x minus g of x values. So -4, 8. Then we're at 2, 6. 0, 4. 2, 4. So it stays constant there, and then back up 2, 6. So if we connect those, this is our new graph of f of x minus g of x. Okay. So I've left the answers to the other ones in our B and D there. I want to do C, so if you go down with me, let's try C, because C is a little different. Okay. C, again, is f of g of x. So if we got f of g of x, what we're hoping to look at here is we want to create a chart again. But this time what we put in the chart's a little bit different, because the only thing we're going to evaluate first, we're only ever going to evaluate a g of x function first now, right? F of x is never a thing in this. It's f of g of x. So we will evaluate g first, and then we'll put the answer to that into f. So if you see the x value stayed the same, because this is actually the same graph, and now we would look and we would say, okay, g of -4 was -4, -4, 0, -2, -2. Well, those values, these new g of x values, are what we're going to plug in to find f of x. So right here, I'm looking at -4, and that -4 is going to help me find that f of x at that point, f of g of x, is 4. Again, -4, so we know that's 4. Now, f of 0, this new 0 there from g of x, also gives me 4. F of -2 at this point, so we're going backwards. F of 2 is 2. And then f of -2 is 2. So there is all my new points to help graph this. And again, we're going to use the original x and this final f of g of x there as our y values. So we have points at -4, 4, -2, 4, 0, 4, 2, 2, and 4, 2. And so that there is our new equation, f of g of x. So I hope this helped. Try those other couple and then check the answers that I left for you.